Hey guys, so I wanted to make this stream. This is probably going to be a pretty quick stream because it is 1:17 a.m. Now, as I've said before, I'm going to start this stream off by. Oops, my bad. Sorry, it's an ad. I'm watching my own video. I'm going to start this stream off with saying what I want to say, and then afterwards, I am going to read live chat. So don't think that this stream is going to be very, very long. Usually, for most of my videos, I spend so much time on live chat that that adds up to maybe a 1 or 1.5 hour video. So I was talking to relatives today, and the topic came up in regards to my uncle. He didn't have a will. They are looking at his assets, and then they also have to divide it amongst themselves. So that's still in discussion. Now, I I received news that he had a very sizable amount of money, and a big chunk of it is because he invested for a long amount of time. So when I heard the figure, and I'm not going to share what the figure what it was, I was stunned. I was like, "Holy crap, I had absolutely no idea." So my uncle lived very frugally. And when I'm talking about very frugally, he did not wear fancy clothes, and most of the time, like when I saw him, he was really casual. He wore clothes like exercise shirts, exercise pants, those slides, those athletic slides. And if you saw him walking down the street, you would not think he was as financially stable as he was. He looked like a guy going to the gym. And I had known him for all my life. And whenever I saw him, I never saw him with like an expensive watch, an expensive um, wallet. It was just, he was very frugal, and he saved up all his money. Now, he had shared that, yeah, he did live a very frugal life because when he retired, he wanted to enjoy the money that he had amassed. Now, again, I know the figure. It was more than enough to retire comfortably for sure. But he had been investing for over 20 years, and that made up a big portion of why his wealth grew the way he is. And I'm also reminded of other people that I know, people who don't make a lot of money, but they've been investing for a number of years, and they are really, they are in really great financial shape because of this. Now, I don't want any of you guys to just kind of gloss back investing, because look, if you invest money right now, maybe you're going to lose money, okay? When you invest, you win or you lose. But I feel like if you go with like stronger stocks, and disclaimer, I do invest heavily in tech, and tech is not doing so great right now, but I do heavily believe in tech. One of my biggest holdings is Amazon. Amazon is not doing so great. It hasn't really moved up, but I have faith in Amazon long term, so I refuse to sell Amazon, even though I feel like, oh, I can jump over to another stock instead. That's just me. That's just my thinking. I'm planning to hold on to my stock portfolio for ideally the next 30 years. 30 years, 40 years, and I'm pretty confident that my portfolio will do well. So, going back to what I was saying, the people that I know who have invested in stocks, who do tend to be very frugal, they, instead of spending their money on luxury brand items, they spend their money on their future. And it's very important for you guys to keep this in mind, because I know with so much marketing going on, they tell you, in consumerism, all these companies are spending millions upon millions of dollars saying you need to get like the always pack, you need to get this, you need to get that. And if you don't have like this luxury wallet or this luxury handbag or this luxury watch, then you are not good enough. If something happens to you, you're gonna wish you had the cash instead of having the luxury watch. I'm gonna be upfront, and that's one of the reasons why you don't see me into like high-end jewelry. All the jewelry I have are really cheap stuff. It's like $10 or less, and I'm totally fine with it, because in the event that I lose the piece, in the event that the piece is stolen from me, I can just say, hey, you know what, that was $10, maybe $20, like it doesn't stress me out. So I don't like the idea of spending money on items that don't retain their value or they cannot grow. A piece of jewelry cannot grow. A watch, a Rolex, even a Rolex, it if you buy it, the cost of pre-owned is going to be substantially less than new. So I really recommend that you guys invest. I'm not going to say what to invest in, but you do have like a number of ETFs as well. Some people like looking at things like, of course, like SPY or QQQ. But other people, right, they like to be a little bit more, they're more of a risk taker, shall I say. So you go to like, ARK Invest, right? ARKK, ARKW, ARKF. But those kind of stocks, you have to, in my opinion, you have to hold ideally for a long time. And it's important to not like, and not to just get shaken out really quickly. I made a mistake. I was holding on to a stock for a while, and then after I freaking sold it, it went up 30%. I'm like, damn it. Yeah, I'm kind of pissed off at that. But I can always go back in and just say, yeah, I lost money on that, but I can always reinvest in the future. Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? But that kind of stuff, yeah, that kind of stuff is very important to keep in mind. And yeah, so please do not underestimate. Like, if you see someone walking down the street and they don't look like they're rich, like, don't assume that, yeah, this person is poor. Like, please don't assume that, because that person could be very extremely financially stable. And so many times, like, I feel like people just, they look at each other and they say, oh, this person is always wearing, let's say, basketball shorts, or this person's always wearing like a cheap t-shirt that looks like, it's like non-name brand athletic stuff. So maybe it's, like a Walmart brand or something like from Ross, and people think, oh, that person doesn't make enough money and they should make money. Like, there's some very judgmental people. And I've shared it before, but what I have learned is the people who are flashing the most amount of expensive stuff, we're talking the luxury watches, we're talking the luxury cars, they may be broke as hell. Seriously, you got some people who are so tied into their watch collection or their cars, I almost said car collection, cars, that they feel like this is the way that they can one up the world. Like, oh yeah, look at you, you're walking around in, cheap looking clothes. They see a person walking around in cheap looking clothes, and then they think, oh, I have my expensive Rolex watch that, they wish they probably bought pre-owned. If they're smart, if you buy a Rolex, like, I will not recommend buying a Rolex, but if you do buy a Rolex, I would recommend buying pre-owned. No one's gonna know if it's freaking pre-owned. If you wear it once, then it's considered pre-owned, right? Even if you bought the watch new, you wear it once, just like a car, it's used, it's pre-owned. And yeah, so people like that, I feel like if you surround yourself with people who just, like, they don't make too much money, but they're spending all their money on trying to signal to other people, like, I made it in life, I'm rich. That is not a person who, in my opinion, is going to be financially successful in the future. There is a big difference, right? If you have a lot of money in your bank account, I'm not going to give people crap for buying a Rolex. But if you are like neck deep in debt, or if you are going to go in debt because to buy this Rolex, do not do it. Absolutely do not buy the Rolex. And I have known several people in my life where they will buy a luxury item, go into debt, or start, not put off a semester of college because they want to have the LV bag instead of going one semester in college. Yeah, it was so stupid. I used to know a chick like that. And I remember I was thinking, like, what the hell, man? You rather have the luxury handbag, the LV bag, than education, than a college education. Like, college education is the thing that makes you money in the future. And I know people would disagree with me here, but let's be real here. A lot of jobs, they require a college degree. And if you don't have a college degree, your opportunities are very limited. I find that there's a fault with that, but that's a whole different other story. I feel like a lot of the time, like, people who go to college, it doesn't mean that they're naturally gonna be successful in life. You can have a college degree, and from my own experience, right? I knew a person who went to the same business school as me, who got a degree, I believe, in finance, and he was working at a cashier at CVS, and the guy looked freaking depressed as hell. And I thought to myself, see, if you get a college degree, that does not mean, especially a business degree, that does not mean that money is going to be raining in. You know, you're going to have to open an umbrella, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so freaking wealthy. Like, no, that's not the case. So, yeah, please keep that thing in mind. And if any of you, right, I know I've talked about liking things of higher quality, but everything that I get, I always make sure, like, this is something that I'm going to be using, this is something that I'm going to be thinking that it can last a long time. And ideally, almost all of my purchases are under $20 that I make, or under, I would say actually majority of them are actually under $5. Yeah, $5. And I don't purchase that much things at all. So yeah, don't feel like you need to keep up with the Joneses, because so many people, at least in America, are in debt. And they get into debt, especially the consumer debt, you know, the consumerist culture kind of debt. That is not good. That is not good to just put yourself in a position of debt because you listen to these marketing ads. And whenever you see the marketing ads, just like turn it off. There are times where I've done it on stream, like I looked at pre-owned LV bags because I was showing it to you guys, right? And now on my side feed on my YouTube, I see like all these ads telling me like, hey, you know, why don't you check out this LV bag that you didn't buy? It's crazy. It is crazy on how these brands try to, like, even when I click away, they're like, wait, don't forget about us. Like, buy the $700 pre-owned bag that you were looking at. And I really should make a stream about that, about how some of these ads are. And it's just like, you want to step away, but they always try to like lure you in. So if you want to make it easier, go to any of these sites and look at the most freaking ugly stuff ever. And that way it just kind of conditions you like, frick, all these companies are trying to push me to buy this ugly piece of beep, and kind of thing. And don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. You know that there's a company or there's some sort of thing paying a lot of money to just force it in your head. You force it in your mind like, oh yeah, you accepted the cookies, so we're going to show you all these expensive handbags that you're browsing at. And I have a thing where I look at expensive stuff. I've been very upfront about it. I love looking at like stuff on, not all the time, like Neiman Marcus, sometimes Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom, consignment handbags. I like looking at the really bougie places where they have like $20,000 sculptures. And I like seeing that, but I don't buy it. It's like, ooh, here's a pretty piece. Wow, this is, holy crap, this figurine is like $40,000. Wow, let me zoom in on that. And after I see it, I just like click away. So if you guys ever catch me in a luxury store, which most likely you will never see me in, just because it's like, the situation thing. I don't really want to go out too much. But if you guys ever saw me in a luxury store, you would see me kind of like looking at things, maybe picking things up, but I would not buy it. I would not buy it. I just like appreciate it like a piece of artwork. If you go to a gallery, you see these expensive paintings on the wall. It doesn't mean you want to take the $3 million Monet painting home. It just means that you appreciate it. So yeah, I don't get anything out of like going to a luxury handbag store, and I don't like the pressure for salespeople. So if I do check out a luxury bag, it most likely will be at like Saks Fifth, Nordstrom, but it wouldn't be like LV because they don't sell LV over there. Yeah, I'm not too happy with LV. I think LV is kind of cheap looking now. I think it's overpriced. I think they skimped out on the materials. And LV does not impress me. Louis Vuitton does not impress me anymore. So I've said it before. I'll say it again. If I got an LV bag, 99% chance it would either be vintage, or if I'm in a place like New York, it would be a replica. Because I do not want to worry about my bag getting stolen. And I know some people will say, Erica, it's bad to have a replica, but I do not want to give the thief the benefit of reselling my LV bag for money. I have zero problem telling people this is a fake beeping bag, and I keep it this way because it's a safety measure. If anybody wants to steal my handbag, I can replace it. But yeah, I have zero desire getting an LV bag right now. Right now, I use a very expensive bag. called a sports sack. I buy this thing pre-owned, pre-owned, and my bags are like about $10 each shipped. I really love getting a pre-owned bag. And these bags are super durable. Seriously, I know people are gonna give me crap about this grandma looking bag, but what I don't like is I don't like the idea of having a bag that's worth $1,000 and then you find yourself in a situation where you only got like $5 in the bank or $20 in the bank. Like, how embarrassing is that? No, seriously, I'm being real here. Like, if you buy an expensive bag and you can't afford that bag outright comfortably, then you really should not be. See, like, look at this. This bag over here is $18. I think this bag is about $100 new, $150 new or so. See these pre-owned bags. This is the way to go. $18. That is a really good price. I'm tempted to get that bag, but I won't because I already have a duffel bag from the sports bag. I have a Mario one. So that kind of stuff, right? Don't feel like you need to spend money to give yourself self-worth. What is more attractive and more sexy, in my opinion, is knowing, hey, I could buy this stuff outright if I wanted to, but I choose not to. And I've gotten a lot of criticism in my life over that. Like, I've always been like a very big saver. I believe heavily in saving and investing. And people have given me crap in my life where they said, "Oh, Erica, I think it's so sad that you go to these like nice stores and you never buy yourself like those handbags that you look at." And I said, "Why is that sad? Like, this is like, I don't need this many handbags." And at the time I had like 22 handbags at home because I have a thing for handbags, but not expensive handbags. So I knew that if I had purchased, let's say, a $500 handbag or $800 handbag or $2,000 handbag, I would not be using it that often. And I highly suggest, if any of you guys make any big purchases, try to get the cost per use $1 each. So for instance, let's say you buy a $400 coat. Do you see yourself using that coat 400 times in your life? If you do, then I think it is a good purchase to make. If you don't, then yeah, not a good thing. So I would not be that kind of person where I spend $400 on a jacket and then only use it like 2 to 3 times in my life. When I make purchases, I try to be very, very aware of that, unless it's like maybe a dollar item. Then I could be like, well, I use it once and I feel like, okay, my cost per use is 1, and then if I give it away, it's like no big deal. So I'm going to read chat really quickly, but yes, please invest your money. Don't fall for marketing. And marketing is a huge business where they try to like shove it down your throats that you gotta spend money to feel good. And remember, anybody who's listening in this stuff, that luxury purchase item that you have, you will eventually have to get rid of it. You will have to maintain it. Like if it's a handbag or a car, like a leather handbag, you got to condition it. Ask yourself at the end of the day, would you feel happier having the cash or having the item? For me, if I had to think in the future, 10 years down the line, I would say screw the freaking handbag. I'm going to use a cheap handbag, and I'd rather have the money in an account. Because if I invest, let's say, $1,000 right now into a certain stock, maybe in 10 years, maybe it'll double, maybe it'll triple, and that is more attractive to me than spending $1,000 on a handbag that would just solely depreciate it, and it's not going to add to my financial future. So yeah, I'm going to read chat, and I wanted to just bring that thing up. So let me see what's being said over here. So Jim says, I've met a few people who you never know were wealthy, down to earth, others less so, flash the cash. Exactly, Jim. So the people who are financially wealthy, they are not driving around. Like, there are going to be a few people, right, who have the Lamborghinis or the Maseratis or that sort of car. And the only people who are attracted to those kind of people are gold diggers. Yeah, and it's just like crazy. So it's like, dang. So I'm not gonna say the exact figure, but I'm gonna say this. My uncle, I found out he could have bought a Lamborghini quite comfortably, but he chose not to have the Can you imagine being like, a lot of people can't wrap their head around it. If you find yourself in a financial situation where you can comfortably afford a Lamborghini, a lot of people would say, I'm gonna buy the Lamborghini because I want to ride around in that Lambo. My uncle was not like that. He was very frugal, and he was well educated, so he saw the value of, instead of buying Lamborghini, he rather invest into stocks, he rather invest into his financial future. So so my uncle is like a huge inspiration. I was like, dang, I had no freaking idea. And because he invested in stocks, long term stocks, I wanted to share that. He was a huge saver, he was a long time investor, and he was by far set for life. My cousin has two Rolexes for emergency. Oh my gosh, he was excited to. Oh my god. Do you know? Okay, let's look at this, okay? I'm sure I'm gonna get all these freaking cookies to buy Rolex. Let's see. Look at the price of a Rolex pre-owned. See this? $4,000 for this thing. $5,000. I wonder if they have the retail price here. Let's see. Do they have the retail price? Sometimes they have the retail price. Okay, see? So look, you could have bought this Rolex for $8,000, but now it's $4,995. Don't think it's 4,000 bucks. Round this thing up, it's actually $5,000. So you save about $3,000. So how is this considered to be an emergency fund thing? This is, again, a depreciating asset. A depreciating asset is not a good investment. A car is not an investment. As much as people like to think, oh, I'm investing in a car, I'm investing in a watch, like, you have to think, does the pre-owned, is that more expensive than the price that you bought it originally at? A Rolex, unless it's a super limited edition, it's not going to gain value. You're going to lose money. You're better off buying stock. And not just like a regular stock. I would say, if you're really risk adverse, buy an ETF. Buy a steady ETF. Yeah, so L says, I tend to buy high quality stuff when it's something I'm going to use a lot, like certain clothing items, instruments, and computers. Otherwise, just buy cheap stuff. So Lewis is probably sleeping. Thank God. He can't listen to this part. But I like buying MacBooks, because I know people would say, Erica, this is like, oh my gosh, you're triggering me, Erica. I enjoy using a MacBook. I truly enjoy it. I use it every day. I use my computer for at least 8 hours a day. And if I had to think about it, right, it's like the freaking entertainment that I get from my computer is less than $1 an hour. And I know I have this whole dollar cost basis thing, but seriously, how much I get so much entertainment from my computer and so much joy from my computer. If this MacBook was like $2,000, I would buy it. Well, not instantly, but I would buy it, and I would not have any problem spending that money, assuming the specs are good, or good in my perception. That yeah, I would see it as like, hey, this is cheap entertainment. I save so much money researching things online and watching, let's say, YouTube videos, watching movies online, documentaries. It, like, a movie, if you go to a movie theater, is like $13, right, for 90 minutes. I've gotten countless hours off of my MacBooks. This is Clio 2, by the way. Yep. So L says, mostly spend money on self-investment, business investment. Exactly. See, L is a smart person. Yeah. So L says my bags are all under 20 pounds. I'm assuming that's under $40. All of my bags here are under $15. A huge majority of my bags were free. I have like three bags that I bought over here. I think one was $8, and then the other one was like $5 and $5. Did I buy any other handbag here? I have like a bunch of handbags, but yeah, those are the only three ones that I purchased off the top of my head. Oh God. Shoes. Oh, I love boots. I love shoes. Yeah. Yeah, so Magic Spam Dragon is smart. See, so if you have a really good pair of shoes, I'm imagining your steel cap work boots cost a good chunk of money when you bought it, right? If you invest in a high quality item, instead of replacing these boots every year, it can last you like a bunch of years. That's why I'm a big fan of buying leather shoes, like really good durable leather shoes. Like if you buy, let's say, if you buy, let's say, if you're a man and you buy like leather shoes for men, right? If you buy a shoe and you take care of it, and I don't know anything about these brands, but I do know there are like, I don't know, I can't comment too much on like these specific brands of shoes, but if you have a good pair of shoes and you condition it and you take care of it, like condition it, clean it, you know, with the leather cleaner, and then you can get it resold. Yes, you can get shoes. You can go to a shoe place and get your shoe resold. So the bottom, see the bottom? Let me show this. See this? You can resole the bottom of your shoes. So if you spend, let's say, $200 on or $300 on Allen Edmonds, don't think that if you get a hole in your shoe, you got to toss it away. I've known people who have leather shoes for over 10 years, and because they take care of it, they still have it. So although maybe the initial cost of the shoe was $300, for 10 years they never had to buy a replacement shoe because they bought a higher quality shoe. You see where I'm getting at? Like, do not just go for the cheaper shoe. You could have bought a $30 shoe, but what if it's uncomfortable, right? What if you find that, like, yes, it's such a piece of crap that you don't want to keep it, and then you buy another $30 on shoes or $60 or shoes? It's better to just, if you know this is going to be a staple piece, buy the like try on the expensive shoe, right? See if you really love it, save up for it, and then say that is a pair of leather shoes that I'm going to be using for a number of years. And if the thing gets a hole in it, you can bring it to a shoe place, and then I think reselling shoes is about $30. I've gotten a pair of Manolo Blahniks resold, I think, for $30, and those are like $600 shoes. I got my high heels pre-owned, so I think, yeah, it was like about $600. I got them pre-owned. Yes, I bought my shoes already loved, and they were in really good condition for $60, and then I spent $30 to resole them. And yeah, if you saw them on my feet, like, you would not think that because like the leather already creased at the point, like you would not think like, oh my goodness, you know, Erica has these like dowdy looking shoes. Those shoes that I have are really pretty, and I don't have any desire for buying black high heels, because when I think about those shoes, I think that is the pair that I love so much, and I intend to have those shoes as long as those shoes fit my foot. Now, if my foot gets swollen or bigger in the future, then naturally, right, if I can't fit it, then I'll give it away, or maybe I'll resell it. But I've saved so much money buying those Manolo Blahnik shoes, because I did, you know, I saved a lot of money because I got them pre-owned, and I don't have the desire to buy any other shoe because I know I have one of the top of the line high heels. So that's the way I think. I don't surround myself with cheap shoes. I don't want to buy like the $5 high heels. I don't want to buy like the $5 Aldo shoes, because those shoes are not a wise investment. I'm going to spend more mental energy and physical energy saying, oh, these shoes look nice, but they're so freaking heavy, I don't want to wear them, and then I get rid of them, and then I buy another cheap shoe, and then when I get more blisters, and yeah, it's not worth it. Better to just buy really good high heels and go with it that way. So Manolo Blahnik shoes, I have, let me show you guys this one, just because, so you guys get an idea. I have a shoe that basically looks like, my shoe basically looks like this shoe. It looks very, very similar to this shoe. I mean, it's like a black stiletto heel, this one. So this high heel, when I wear it, it's like, it's nice, it's light, it's durable. I have shoe polish for it. Yes, I bought one of the top of the line shoe polishes because I thought if I have like a $600 high heel, I better not skimp out on the freaking shoe polish. Seriously, the shoe polish was, I think, like $15 or less. But see this? See that? This is the kind of purchase you make it. You're not going to be attracted to buying $20 high heels that are 50% off, because you're going to say, I got a pair of Manolo Blahniks at home. I love these shoes. My search for the perfect black heel is over, at least for now. So ever since I had these shoes, I never felt the need to buy another pair of black heels. Actually, I take that back. I do have another pair of black heels, but it's just those two pairs. Okay, so long story short, said, did the link pop up? Nice bag auction. No, it didn't pop up. Let me make you a mod, and Yeah, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't, like, you guys can't send links unless you're a moderator. Okay, so long story short, please add the link in. I'm so sorry. Yeah, auto links don't show up unless you're a mod. So Jonathan Taylor says, yeah, oh yeah, oh wait, Elle says, I need some boots. All I have is two pairs of trainers at the moment. You know what? It's really smart that you have two pairs of shoes. I sound like a total hypocrite here because I mostly just wear one pair of shoes, or yeah, mostly one pair of sneakers whenever I'm out, and they look kind of dowdy, kind of ratty. But if you wear two pairs of sneakers and you alternate them, they last longer because your shoe can dry out in between. So let's say you really like having, I don't know, two pairs of Nikes, right? You can wear, let's say, one pair Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the other like Tuesday, Thursday in between, and they last so much longer that way. So Jonathan Taylor says, if I use it every day, I enjoy buying something on the nicer end, but not luxury. $80 jeans that I love and a good pair of work boots, and I'm set. Diminishing returns is a real thing. Yeah. So Jonathan says, like, yeah, you should buy something nicer. There is a fine line between nicer and luxury. For high heels, my personal suggestion is because of how I am, in terms of, like, I'm a skinny chick, right? I have small little ankles. I don't like having excess weight on my feet. So I like having the foam Nikes, the really light Nikes. I like having the luxury shoes because they are so much lighter than the cheap shoes. So if you go to, let's say, an Aldo, let me show you this. Aldo.com. Oh crap. What the hell? Aldo shoes? Is that it? Yeah, okay, Aldo shoes. So let me show you these shoes. I bought a pair of Aldo shoes back in the day. I wore them once. And they were on sale, but I only wore them once because they were so freaking heavy and so freaking uncomfortable. I said, screw that. They look light, but those things were really uncomfortable. So see this? See? So let's say this, right? And I don't want to generalize, but see this shoe? It's a $90 Aldo heel. I don't know how comfortable this shoe is, but I'm willing to bet that this shoe is substantially more heavier than my Manolo Blahnik. And when you look at the shape of that shoe versus this shoe, what looks more expensive? I'd say the Manolo, right? This looks kind of cheapy. So this one was $80 new. I bought my Manolo Blahnik for about $65 pre-owned. So instead of spending more money on a cheap shoe, I had a top tier shoe. And the reason why I was able to get this shoe cheap is that it was at a consignment store, and there was a socialite in Hawaii that she had a lot of functions to go to, and she was that kind of person where she only liked wearing like these expensive pairs of shoes for like one or two times, and she would just sell them. Like, she would sell them at consignment because she's like, oh, I don't want the shoe anymore. I'm tired of it. It's too worn. And I was just blown away. I was like, holy crap, this shoe looks like it's freaking almost brand new. And it's crazy. It's crazy, like, for some people when they have like a lot of money, like a lot of money. There are certain people, it's like they want to keep up that image of, they always wear like brand new looking Manolo Blahniks. And I can't imagine spending $700 on a pair of shoe and only wearing it a couple times. But good on her for going for consignment. But I think the consignment cut was probably about 20 to 40%. I think it was closer to 30 or 40, but I could be remembering it wrong. Oh. Okay, so Copa says, I took it as an excuse so people can buy expensive stuff without guilt tripping themselves. I rephrase it, instead of guilt tripping, they want to find a reason to buy a expensive luxury purchase. Yeah, so Copaz is right. Sometimes, like, people, they will make these justifications, right? And I don't want to call people broke, but I find that the people who are the most gung ho about this stuff, like buying this luxury item, they're not in the best financial position. These are people where they're lacking things in their life, and like I said, they find this need to say, I made it in life. I want to signal to everybody that I'm rich. So I'm going to have the Manolo Blahnik shoes. I'm going to have the Louis Vuitton purse. But I'm also going to go into debt for it because it's so important to me. See, it's like what? So Yeah, that kind of thing. Like all the stuff that I get, I only have like a few luxury item pieces back in Hawaii. All those pieces are pieces that I intend to keep with me for the next 20, 30, 40 years. And I don't think my shoes are going to last me 30 years, but if anything happens to it, I'm going to bring it to a shoe cobbler. They're basically the repairman of shoes. Really great. There was a place that I went to Hawaii, owned by a small, a really, like, I think it was in downtown Chinatown. It was owned by a Korean couple. The guy was, I think, about 70, and the wife was probably around 72. They fix luxury shoes. They resold them, and I thought this is a great thing, right? I have shoes that need to be repaired. I bring it to a small business, a small mom and pop business. They make a little money. I save a lot of money because I don't have to buy new shoes. That's the way to go. So let's see over here. Yeah, so don't if you find yourself in this whole thing where it's like I don't feel good about myself, I need to buy the expensive things so I feel better, like don't do it, especially if it's being an impulsive purchase, because again, your items that you have, if you spend money on a brand new item that's like way out of like budget, and you're doing it as an emotional thing to tell yourself you need to feel better, you might be setting yourself up for financial, financial, a bad financial position. And funny enough, the people who have criticized my spending or my lack of spending, like the people who felt like I was depriving myself, those are the people who coincidentally, like, they splurged on themselves to the point that they ended up in not in a good financial position. Like, we're talking people who just said I deserve to treat myself so many times that they ended up in debt, and then they had the stress from debt. Like, I do not want to go into debt over my freaking Manolo Blahnik shoes. I rather say, okay, I make my purchases. I'm gonna be selective. I'm gonna go pre-owned, and that way, when I buy it, I don't have nearly as much guilt on shoes that retail for $700. So Jim is really smart too. I've been buying Salomon boots for years from the U.S. Cost more, but lasts as 3 times long as cheap crap. See, so Jim's strategy is super smart, because when Jim makes these purchases, he doesn't have to worry about thinking about, like, in during that time, oh, I gotta buy another boot because my cheap boots like broke apart. Time is so valuable. You don't want to spend time replacing on freaking boots. And also, I've been in that situation where I bought cheap shoes. You know what happens when I buy cheap shoes? I feel like crap. I feel like I cheaped out on myself, and shoes are so incredibly important. You wear uncomfortable cheap shoes that are heavy, you're not happy. I'm not happy wearing cheap high heels, because you think about it, right? When you look at this shoe, I have to keep my weight on these little heels for extended periods of time. Do I want to really be in uncomfortable high heels for possibly 5 hours with yeah, do I want to be 5 hours in like crappy high heels? The 5 hours are gonna last so much longer in a cheap shoe versus an expensive shoe. Super, super important. Okay, so Jonathan also has hobbies that pay for themselves. Some people do woodworking. Some people, maybe they do pottery, right? Some people do painting. That works. Magic Spam Dragon said, I had a coworker bought a remote controller four wheeler for his son. Bought it to work to show off. Oh gosh. And this other coworker said, "Oh, I got a better one." Brought it a $700 little pickup truck. Oh man. Oh man. Jeez. Jeez, man, I can't imagine it. Like, you don't have to be in this whole luxury purchase where you feel like I gotta show people how successful I'm. Like, a real successful person, like my uncle, you just be on the down low, because here's the other thing, right? When you send to people, and I spoke to a person who was like a multi-millionaire too, separate person who was a multi-millionaire. They told me, they said, Erica, if you have an expensive car, you're gonna look like a total, jackass. And I was like, really? And they said, yeah, like don't get an expensive car because you're gonna just look like you're a jerk. Get a car that's on the down low, like a Mazda or something, or an Acura. Like no one's gonna hit you up for money. If you have a beater car, for instance, let's say if you're driving what I drive, which is a 2001 Toyota Corolla, no one's gonna be like, hey, let's shake Erica up for money if they saw me on the street, because they'd be like, dang, this chick needs to get a more expensive car. Like she has like a 20-year-old car. You know what the beautiful thing about that car is though? That car works and it's paid for. There is nothing more beautiful than a car that's paid off. Seriously, all these people who get into this whole thing where they say, "Oh, I gotta have the newest car. I gotta have the best car. I gotta like show off to people that I have a Rolex." Like those people, they're fighting a losing battle because cars get older every freaking year. 2020 car, 2021 car, 2022 car, 2023 car. You're not gonna win. I tap myself out about that. I know I joke about on stream how I want to get a Lucid, but seriously, I would never get a Lucid because that's a freaking $70,000 car. I would be much happier investing that $70,000 into stocks than spending it on a car. 100%. Yeah, so pre-owned luxury is the way to go. You got like some pre-owned luxury handbags. I went to a thrift store. I picked up, what did I pick up? I picked up I think it was a Balenciaga city. Let me show you guys this one. City bag. I had this bag. I picked it up at a thrift store. I think I paid $6 for this bag. Seriously, seriously, $6 for this freaking handbag. And I remember when I picked it up, I was like, "Oh man, this is so great! I have such a nice handbag." And that's the way I roll. I like having expensive items. I consider myself to be quite bougie, but I don't want to get into debt for that. I would love to be surrounded by, you know, luxury items, but pay a fraction of the cost. If I can save 90%, I would think that's a worthwhile investment. Can you imagine if I had like all my luxury handbags and all my luxury shoes, and then I said, "Hey, by the way, just want to tell you, you see this nice looking handbag? That was $20. That was $10." Yeah, and it's also very eco-friendly. So if you buy pre-owned, you save a lot of money off of that. It's tons and tons of money. Ain't no one gonna know you bought that bag or shoe new used unless you tell people. And I have no problem telling people. I'm definitely have no problem telling you guys that too. Nah, some people like some people like having like new things. They have this like adrenaline rush if they're a shopaholic. They like to say, okay, let me buy all this stuff. You know, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm always on trend. But don't, like I said, don't feel like you gotta always be on trend, because the moment that you feel like you have to compete with other people, that's the moment that you really lose a lot of financial control, in my opinion. There are so many marketing companies who just want to tell you like you are not good enough, so you need to buy this expensive item if you want to be known, or if you want to be seen as a more valuable person. You need to be in the Louis Vuitton, you need to be in this. But yeah, for me it's like, dress nicely, groom yourself well, maybe have a nice piece that looks expensive, but don't go into debt over this kind of stuff. You're gonna stress out over at night, and then you're gonna think to yourself, man, I bought this like $2,000 luxury item, but I don't need it. You could have, instead of buying, let's say, a $2,000 handbag, you could have bought like a $10 handbag or $5 handbag. And if anyone's like, oh yeah, you're not as valuable because you decided to buy, let's say, the $10 or $20 handbag than the $2,000 handbag, like you don't need them. Like F them, seriously. Seriously, like all these people who try to go in this like luxury brand rat race, a lot of them set themselves up for failure. Like it's not worth it. Like I'd rather be having a nice stock investment portfolio than have a closet full of Louis Vuitton handbags. Because the Louis Vuitton handbags, unless I sell them, they're not going to get me money. If I invest into a stock like Visa, I get a dividend. It's going to pay me money to own it. That's amazing. That is amazing if I have a stock that pays me to own it or an item that pays me to own it rather than an item that's just sitting in my closet. You know what? Here's the thing, Sonia, though. You always talk about having wanting to have a backup. Like, what are you buying that actually needs to have tons of backups? Like, if you buy something like a tumbler, like, do you think you're really gonna break all those tumblers? No, just buy it as you need it. Buy one good freaking tumbler. Or remember, you know what was really good? Remember the hydro flasks? I know you guys remember this. Hydro Flask. This stuff, you don't lose it. It will last you for a freaking long time. Yes, it's $34, but this Hydro Flask should last you until the day you die. And if you have to replace anything, I think they have like a lifetime warranty, but I could be remembering it wrong. See that? Now this is a name brand thing. What is this? See, it has a lifetime warranty. That's amazing. I have a Hydro Flask back in Hawaii. I love my Hydro Flask. And yeah, it was $34, but you think about it, right? You go to a store, you buy a bottle of water, that thing is like $1 or $2. You use this thing 25 times, 50 times or 25 times, this thing pays for itself. This hydro flask, what is the hydro flask I have? I have this one, like the 30, I think it's the one that I have is a 32-ounce size. Yeah, it pays for itself very quickly. So just think every time you use a hydro flask or every time you use a tumbler, you save $2. And that encourages me, like whenever I look at it, I don't feel guilty about buying the expensive item because I think it pays for itself and at some point, oh my goodness, I'm saving money now. I've used it 25 times. And bottled water is $2 each. Okay, so I use it. Oh wow, I saved $2. I saved $4. I saved $6. I've had my hydro flask for a number of years. Yeah. Partey says, "Oh, so you know what? I'm happy, Partey. You broke free of the new car. Yeah. S-Class Mercedes in general, like the maintenance fees on that is more expensive because here's the thing: if you have an expensive car, you have this whole perception. There's this idea that if you have an expensive car, you can afford the more expensive maintenance, right? So I knew a person who had a Mercedes that they were complaining to me about the price of their oil change because they had this some sort of proprietary oil change. I can't remember if it was right, but I think they said it was like over $100 for it. Like I want to say 300, but I could be remembering it wrong. But they were complaining to me about the freaking oil change costs when they spent $43,000 on their car, and I'm like, what is like $300 compared to $43,000? Are you really hyper focusing on the $300? If you made a smart financial decision, you would not be bitching about the freaking $300 oil change. You would say this is the cost of having it. You see, like that kind of thing. Like, were you surprised that you would have an expensive oil change for a Mercedes? You should have done the research. I know that if I had an expensive car, if I get into an accident, the repairs are going to cost much more. If any yeah if I get into an accident, the repairs are going to cost more. Maintenance is going to cost more. It comes with it. People don't get expensive cars and then think, oh, it's going to be cheaper than, let's say, a Toyota. If you make any car purchase, you have to be willing to pay the, like if it's a luxury car, you got to be comfortable with the luxury price premium for the parts. Ooh, look at Jim. Jim is good at saving money. I don't know, like if I had this hydro flask, it should last for a really long time. Oh, the aluminum. Yeah, aluminum bottles make a lot of noise. I don't have any aluminum bottles over here. Actually, I think I have a plastic. No, actually, I take that back. I do have a metal one here. No, I don't see your link. Anybody see anybody see a long story short's link? I don't see it. Should I send it again? Yeah, yeah, Partey says, I remember you talking about that Mercedes. Yeah, yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh. Mercedes, nice cars. They drive really nicely. Don't get me wrong. I do like driving, I do like riding in a Mercedes. But the freaking price premium from that, I'm like, nope, 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 nope. And here's the other thing, too, right? When I was in Hawaii, I did the numbers, right? And I thought, okay, if I was to get a luxury car, I would have to make car payments on this, right? And how much would it cost if I had a luxury car with the car payments versus I just got an Uber or Lyft? And yeah, I think that you would actually save more money depending on how often you drive, getting an Uber or Lyft, depending on where you live, versus owning or leasing an expensive car. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, so for instance, right? Let's say you own a car, your car payments is like $500 a month. You only drive out maybe 3 times a month, right? Maybe just like 20 minutes at a time. Like, you can just get an Uber or a Lyft instead. So people who don't really drive and they just buy this like expensive BMW or Mercedes and they keep it in the garage, I'm like, what's the point of that? Like, what is the point of owning this luxury car if you're not really going to drive it? And it's just, it's just like you have to pay your car payments. Like, you are not paying off this car. You are not getting $500 worth of mileage from this car if it majority of the time, like 90% of it the time, it's just sitting in your garage and you're not driving a long distance at all. So in that case, right, I would say use the $500. Hindsight always being 2020. Just spend it on an Uber or Lyft. Yeah, you might spend $100 or $200 on an Uber or Lyft a month, but you're still coming out ahead, and you don't have to deal with car insurance. You don't have to worry about price for parking if you have to go in a parking garage, and you also don't have to worry about liability. If you get into a car accident in an Uber, that ain't your problem, right? That's the car owner's problem. If they get a ticket because they're speeding, because you're a passenger, you don't have to worry about parking tickets either. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Long story short's link finally came through. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. Ooh, Van Heusen cotton shirts. So Elle is very good at spending money too. Okay, let's see. Damn it. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's look at this link that long story short sent. Let's check it out. Oh crap. Hold on. Damn you, YouTube link. Well, let it go. Let it go. Yeah, I want to let that go too. Okay, let's see. Okay. Ooh, I like this Paloma Picasso bags. I actually like Paloma Picasso. My grandma actually had these bags. So let's see. We got vintage Chanel, croc leather, Paloma Picasso, Michael Kors. So dated. I don't like Michael Kors. Okay, so let me just talk. Let me just like rattle through this. Okay, the Chanel bag. I don't like it. It looks cheap. Freaking $1,000. I rather use $1,000 put in my stock portfolio. This crocodile handbag, it looks too bulky and looks too big. I don't like it. The Paloma Picasso, it looks kind of like I don't like this bag. It looks super cheap. That's just me. I mean, the price is fine, $6. See that? But yeah, I don't really have a use for a bag. I already have two the sports deck bags. The Michael Kors, I freaking hate Michael Kors bags. Everybody and their mom used to have a Michael Kors bag. And then we got the Michael Kors. Oh my god, I hate that. This leather bag looks weird. This Tosca blue animal print. This looks super cheap. It looks like it came from Ross. This Dooney and Burke. I'm not a. I mean, it looks fine. $15. I actually think this is a pretty nice bag. This Salvatore Ferragamo. Look at this. $500 bag. If I was carrying this bag, would anybody think this is a freaking $6,000 handbag? I would think this thing came from freaking Ross if you remove the Ferragamo tag from it. I think this looks super cheap. What's it made out of? Animal print? What's made of zebra? It has to be made out of zebra. I don't know, but this doesn't look like zebra print. This looks too printed to be zebra print. But yeah, some person might have spent $6,000 on this bag, or maybe 50% off. The $3,000 is way too much on this freaking ugly handbag. Not a fan of it. Doesn't look like it's worth $3,000. This sheriff bag looks like a Target bag. This red leather bag, I'm not feeling it. This Kate Spade bag looks kind of cute. Ooh, this actually is a cute bag. I would actually be willing to bid on this bag. Oh, how cute. How cute. Look at that. I don't have a use for it, but it's so cute. Let's see. How much bids do we got? 1 day, 18 hours. 16 by 10, though, that's a little big. Yeah, I don't need the bag. But it's cute. It's really cute. $3 is a good price. Let's see. The Donald J. Klein. Oh, these boots look cute, too. Calvin Klein. Not really. I don't really like that bag. Ted Baker leather bag. This looks cheap. It wasn't that cheap. Ted Baker is not... I mean, like, it's probably like a $100 bag or so. Yeah, I don't like it. It looks like something came from Ross. This looks super cheap. You can tell by the handles. See the handle? That looks like a cheap-ass handle. Very cheap. Could have been a Ross for 20 bucks. I'm not feeling it. The off-white hardware. That looks like a pretty nice bag, but it looks like Target. I mean, it looks like a cheap bag. This one. Let's see. This is kind of nice. I kind of like this bag. But it looks kind of cheap to me. Just me. It's pretty, but it looks kind of cheap. I would not pay $53 for that handbag. The Dooney & Burke bag. The vintage Gucci bag. Let's check this out really quick. $10. I think it's worth $10. Looks kind of nice. The Gucci bag. Ooh, look at that embroidery. Ooh, I love embroidery so much. You see all that beadwork? Ooh, pretty. How much is it? $85. Oh, hell no. Pretty, though. But I already got bags, so I don't want to pay $85 for a bag. This Kate Spade, doable. That's Ferragamo bag. Hell no. Let's see. Let's look at number 2 over here. I'm just going to go Michael Kors. No. Brahmin floral bag. What, 27? Nah. New York leather bag. $3. That actually does not look too bad. I think that's kind of cute. This Bali Italian. Ooh, this actually looks kind of nice. Let's see. Look at all the bees. Let's see here. Oh, there's a little scuff mark or something. I mean, it looks kind of nice, but it's not really my style. This Kohan bag looks cheap. Michael Kors, hell no. Vintage Chanel leather. Oh my gosh, look at this. $1,500. Why would I be carrying a $1,500 bag? Because if I'm carrying money on me, I would not be carrying more than $10 in this handbag. So, just like $10 in cash. Just being very frank here. I don't like this bag. This bag does not look like it's worth $1,500. That's just, man, this thing looks pretty big. What is this, 15-inch by 10-inch? Oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of this bag. Yeah. No, it looks bulky. It looks clumsy. I don't like it. The Paloma Picasso bag. Oh. The shoes. Look at all this. You got some cheap shoes over here. Some. Ooh, look at the Uggs. I'm not a size 9. Ooh, fur boots. The fringe boots look nice, but yeah, I'm not a 9.5. And then the Sam Edelman boots, yeah. Okay. So most of these bags I did not like at all. I'm just like, not my type. So yeah, it's very hard. It's very hard for me to find stuff that I like, and I'm pretty particular. Because even like if it's cheap, I'm like, nah. Not realistic. I don't want to get an e-bike. I mean, like, I get hit by an e-bike, I die. Most likely, or I get seriously injured. Don't want to risk it. Yep, So anonymous individual says, I've been putting off purchasing a car because walking and public transportation are so when I buy it'll be likely old, cheap, and reliable. See, anonymous individual is, anonymous individual, by not having a car, you save so much freaking money. Because look, if you ever wanted to get a car, this is what I would say. Find out how much the car would be, then you factor in insurance. Then if you have to park your car for work, please figure out how much your parking space for your car is going to be as well. So all these kind of costs plus repair and maintenance, like all these kind of costs add up big time. So freaking expensive. I'm 6.5. My uncle in Hawaii has driven his 93 Toyota pickup since new, and I knew he could afford it just whenever he wants. Great little truck. I learned to drive manual. Yeah, freaking people in Hawaii. I see a lot of older cars on the road. I see a number of trucks. It's like nothing bad about it. I rather have an older car that doesn't look like the best. Like I said, I rather have a older car and feel like, yeah, it's paid for in full. Maintenance is cheap. It's a reliable car. If anybody wants to judge, like, how come you have a old looking car, it's like, whatever. Like the car that I have, I'm gonna show you this. I have a white one. It's a cute little guy too. Let's see this. Toyota Corolla. See this little guy? It has the premium not leather, fabric seats. Let's see. See that? See that amazing hardware in there? See that? So basic. So basic. Let's see. Toyota Corolla seats. Yeah, see? See that? That's the inside. You can see it's like that old grandma looking fabric. It's not anything special. No one's gonna break into my car. They're gonna be like, dude, some grandma probably drives this car. See that? It's a basic car, but it gets me from place to place. And as I mentioned before, if this car breaks down, this is gonna be a lot cheaper than a Mercedes. A lot cheaper. I have nothing I need to prove to anybody. All I need to do is just say, hey, got a car, it works. Ta-da! I think your taxes pay for public transportation. Oh, no, 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 no. Free service. I don't know why pickups are popular in Hawaii. I have no idea. I don't have a pickup, right? I have a Corolla. I like having it, but some people, they like having a pickup truck because then you can put stuff in there, right? Let's say you go in Costco, that kind of stuff. It's just like a whole bunch of stuff you can put there. You can have your big cooler and then put all your Heinekens in there. Oh, I have zero shame. I love my little car. I named my car Milton. Like Milton Bradley. I saw this little guy and I was like, oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. I like this little car. So yeah, anybody who looks at this car is gonna be like, oh my goodness, this is the car. This is the car. This is the car that I have. I like it. It's cute. It's humble looking, and it works. And again, I don't need to prove anything to anyone. Okay, let's look at long story short, Scar. Oh yeah, maybe it is scuba diver or something. Yeah, that could be it. Go grilling or something, right? You can throw the grill in the back the truck. Oh wow, look at that. Ooh, nice car. Nice car. Shiny. Look at that. They don't make cars like this anymore. I love seeing retro older style cars. Is everything that Erica considers cute? No, I got some bougie looking stuff too. Like my expensive shoes, my quote expensive shoes are not considered cute. But yeah, I like it. I like it. I want to go for like a bougie look, but I don't want to pay like the bougie prices. If I can get things like 90% off, that would make me very, very, very happy. If I found like a vintage Chanel bag, that for cheap I would get it, but it would have to be under $50. Ideally $5, so not really holding my breath too much. But yeah, let's see. Oh, look at this. Jim says, I have a friend who bought a BMW, a used BMW SUV. He says, never again. Service costs 3 times as much. Exactly. See, so anybody who wants to buy a BMW, you gotta make sure you keep the repairs in mind, okay? Just because you spent like $50,000 on a BMW doesn't mean you're gonna have the same repair cost as a Toyota Corolla. It's because it's a premium car, there's this assumption that if you can spend that much money on a car, you should be able to afford the repairs as well. And personally for me, unless the car is much better than a cheaper car, I would not get a BMW. And then also insurance, right? Insurance for an expensive car, a higher end car, is substantially more expensive. So, for instance, right, Lewis has a Tesla. His Tesla is considered to be an exotic. I know, I was like, what the hell? His car is like 45K. How the hell is this an exotic car? But because it's an exotic car, he has to pay more expensive for insurance. And then where he parks his car, he has to pay about, I think, $50 more for his parking space because it's a Tesla. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, he likes drive. Well, he liked because the car crashed, right? He liked driving the car, but all the costs really add up. So yeah, you gotta ask yourself, like, is it worth it for him, right? Because he likes the whole capability of not having to rely on gasoline because there is like autopilot of sorts. He thinks it's worth it, and it's a great car. But again, price premium for Tesla. You can look up Tesla repairs. If you get like a dent on a Tesla, it could be $7,000 to repair that car. Seriously, look it up. Look how expensive Tesla repairs are. It's crazy. It's like the bougie car. Like, Tesla, I view as like the Apple of cars. It's like, okay, you want to repair to replace the bumper, it costs $800. And I don't want to get too much off track, but I found out for Tesla, there's two different types of places that you can bring it to. You can bring it to the service center, so the actual Tesla thing. Think of it like bringing it to the Apple store. Or you can bring it to an authorized repair place. So these people are, I guess, trained or certified for Tesla, so they can order the parts and install the parts. So, what would you think? Do you think it's cheaper to bring it to the authorized place, the independent authorized place, or do you think it's cheaper to get it from the service center, basically the Apple store of Tesla? What do you guys think? What is cheaper, the independent repair or the Tesla service center? Okay, I'll answer it. So, between the Tesla service center and the independent repair place, the Tesla service center, if you wanted to replace the bumper, it will cost you about $800. But if you go to the authorized independent repair place, they can charge whatever they want. They can charge you $2,000 for it. They can charge you $4,000 for it. And here's the thing, right? It's because it's independently owned. They can set whatever their prices is. And if they say, hey, you know what, you want to get your bumper repaired, guess what? And you live in like the middle of nowhere, the independent repair place can say, we're going to charge you $3,000 to repair that bumper because we can. And they might charge you, the price for the bumper, but they can add so much extra cost for labor. So you actually are better off going off to the going off to the Tesla service center, or the collision place than the independent repair, from what I found out. I was so shocked. I was like, what? So independent repair is more expensive than going to the Tesla service station, the service center? Jeez. So yeah, I was telling Lewis, I said, man, the cost is going to be so high. Like, can they freaking drive the car over to the collision place? So Tesla, they do have service centers around, but they do small repairs, right? They do something like, oh, we'll replace, let's say we'll do an oil change for you, or maybe they'll, maybe it's like certain things, but it's not extensive. So the service center can order the parts, but they might not have the capability to replace the parts. So the collision places are the place that can happen. I think it's like a Tesla collision center, basically the Apple store of Tesla, right? Those places can repair the Tesla if it got in a collision. However, there's only a handful of them. There's only like 10 or 12 of them in the whole nation. So, from what I saw, the Tesla collision center was a few states away from where he crashed it in North Carolina. I think one was in Georgia. But of course, insurance is not going to want to put the car and tow it over to Georgia, right? So yeah, he's gonna get his car fixed at an independent, and I expect it to cost an arm and a leg. However, insurance is supposed to cover it. So yeah, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's crazy, crazy. So when is Lewis gonna get the car back? I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. He thinks it's gonna be a couple of months, but I don't think it will be. But we'll see. We will definitely see. We will see. But I hope it's not that expensive. I mean, I hope it's not that taking that long. However, someone in the comment section said that there's a part shortage around, like, across the nation. So someone has like a 2020 car, like I think a Chevy car or some sort of Chevy, that that needs to get a part replaced, and they've been waiting 3 months for that part, and that's a Chevy, okay, not a Tesla. So if a person who has a 2020 Chevy is waiting 3 months, how long is it gonna take for Lewis's car to get all the parts in? Freaking expensive, freaking expensive, and freaking costly too. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how expensive and how long can take to repair a car. I don't think Lewis shared the picture of the car when it got damaged, but I'll describe it to you. The car basically, it basically looked like it got crumpled up, and it looked terrible because it's like the freaking frunk was missing. So when you look at, let me show you this on Tesla frunk. See this? So when he got into a car accident, you see this hood over there? It completely sheared off. And then the windshield broke too. So I was surprised because it didn't, he got hit from the side, and I don't know how the freaking hood just sheared right off. So it was missing the side mirror, one of the side mirrors. It was missing the hood, the front hood, and the windshield was all screwed up. And then also it was missing like the bumper. So, and then the wheel cap got damaged too. It looked terrible. It looked freaking terrible. And I was pretty damn sure they were gonna mark it off as a total, but they said, "Hey, we'll repair it." I was like, "Whoa, what? You're gonna repair it? Wow, I'm surprised. I'm genuinely shocked." So it's yeah. So I asked them. I said, "Oh, did you get your front? When the front sheared off, it looked crumpled, right, like a piece of paper. It was insane. But when the front sheared off, I asked him, did you put your front back? And he said he was going to, but then the fire truck people came in, and they just like tossed it. I was like, yikes. No, it got dented. It when it got into the accident, that's when it got dented. Oh, yeah, it got dented. He got it scraped on the side from a pillar, as you guys know. But yeah, in terms of like the mirror getting sheared off, and then the front missing and part of the bumper missing and the windshield, that was all the one accident he had with Eugene. So all that kind of stuff, it's like yikes, yikes. So I mean, it's just like whoa. I mean, it took a lot of freaking damage, but the whole thing about the Tesla that I found out is the Tesla is created in a way so the car will take the damage and then not the person. So the car might, if you get into a car accident, the Tesla could look like terrible, freaking terrible. but you might not end up with any damage, right? No whiplash, or I don't want to say guarantee no whiplash, but yeah, the car takes the brunt of the force, and the car, because it's made out of aluminum, it just looks very like terrible. Terrible, terrible. So, oh my goodness, it's 2:31 a.m. So, I will talk to you guys later. Frick, I didn't realize it was so freaking late. But I hope that you guys had, you guys maybe picked up something. And I hope that you guys think more about investing. Again, you don't have to invest in aggressively growth stocks. You can do like something like SPY or QQQ. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is just me saying, just saying stuff. Do an ETF, because it's spread across like multiple companies. You don't take so much of a hit. So, for instance, right, if one company goes down 10%, it doesn't mean that the ETF itself will tank 10%. So that's the beauty of it. But yeah, so I hope all of you guys, if you're listening, you get closer to financial freedom, financial wealth. I want you guys to just kind of keep that idea in mind, right? My uncle, he lived so frugally. He wasn't depriving himself, okay? But he was living very frugally, very modestly. If you saw him, again, he did not look like he was worth as much money as he could. He was. And he saved and saved and saved. And I just feel terrible that he saved all that money, but he couldn't spend it on himself because, unfortunately, he passed away 4 months after he was diagnosed with cancer. But, right, with how he lived, you guys, I hope you guys pick up that, hey, this, even if you feel like you're older, it's never too late to start investing or start saving your money. You will have more freedom if you have money in your bank account than making these stupid freaking luxury purchases that are just overinflated. So I want you guys to, like, if you guys feel like, oh, I need to have this like $500 item, this luxury item, because it's expensive, and if it's not going to generate you money and you can get a cheaper one, I would highly suggest it. And now, if it is for something that you thoroughly enjoy, like let's say you really like photography and you want to have like top of the line studio lights because you feel like it'll make you really happy, but you don't really buy too much expensive items, in my opinion, like buy the freaking studio lights, save up for the studio lights, but don't go crazy on it. Yeah, like for me, right, I don't, like, of course, when I was streaming, right, when you see me on a tripod, it's like I use a freaking cheap tripod. And yeah, the one tripod that I have two tripods here now. I fixed it just recently with super glue from the Dollar Tree. And I glued it today, and I glued it yesterday. I was like, oh my goodness, I fixed it. I just glued the foot, the retracting foot with super glue, and it works perfectly now. So I'm really happy about that. So yeah, try to be frugal, try to save money, try to make your dollar stretch, try to get pre-owned, and use the money that you save for emergency fund or investing, or spend it on something that really matters to you, not these stupid consumerist items where they say that, yeah, if you don't have the item, then you're worthless. You are not worthless if you don't have a luxury item. You don't need to have the brand name stuff. And your worth is not defined by the items that you have. You can look good if you wear clothes that fit you, that you get from Ross or Savers or Goodwill. It's all about how it fits on you and how you wear it. And your car, if any of you guys are, like, say you're dating and you feel this desire to say, oh, okay, well, I want to get someone, I want to have an expensive car. Do not fall into that trap. Again, I've known guys out there who buy these expensive cars because they say, oh, if I get an expensive car, then I'm going to attract chicks. Look, if you are putting yourself in debt because of this freaking expensive car, you are not helping yourself. Let's be real here. Do you know what is cheaper? Do you know what's cheaper? Going to a brothel than spending money on a freaking luxury car just to get chicks. Like, seriously. Like, and if a chick wants to be serious with you, she's not gonna she shouldn't be with you just because of the car you have. You see, like it's much better to say, you know what, I could have gotten an expensive car, but I have a Toyota Corolla because I rather save that money in a stock portfolio and have the money grow rather than hold on to a depreciating asset. So yeah, don't dismiss a person if they are having a crappy car, because you having a nice car is not indicative of the quality that a person is. Have a crappy car, but try to take care of it. If you can get a paint job for it, maybe, right? I would highly suggest, like, there's a difference between having an old car that's all like scratched up, like that looks like total crap. I would recommend getting a paint job. That's a much better investment than buying like the BMW or the Mercedes. My little car Milton, my 2001 Toyota Corolla, as far as I know, it doesn't have any scratches in it. And if it did have a bunch of scratches, I'd be tempted to maybe, depending on how the scratches look like, I might want to get a paint job for it, because I might think like, oh, okay, well, it's scratched up. I don't think it looks nice. Yeah, let me get a paint job. But see, it's still much cheaper than buying the freaking Lexus or Mercedes or whatnot. So yeah, just take care of your car, wash your car, polish your car, and there is nothing to be ashamed of having a nice looking Toyota Corolla. For sure. But please take care of it, okay? I've seen people where they have these beater cars and they're all rusty and they look like crap. That kind of car I would not recommend getting. Get a car that has a good paint job. Not like, here, let me show you guys this one. Crap, hold on. A 2001 Toyota Corolla that doesn't have scratches on it, or it looks like it's clean, and you detail. I know people will laugh at me. You detail your 2001 Toyota Corolla. That kind of car, it's like you walk inside, or you step inside, you're like, man, this car is clean. This car is taken care of. It's much better to take care of a older car than spend your money on a new car. Because if you don't take care of your car at all, eventually it's going to look like crap, right? If you have a Mercedes and you don't take it to get washed, like, it's going to look like crap. VT Sachs. Well, oh, what is that? I've heard about that. Yeah, QQQ Power Shares. I'm being transparent. I'm invested in QQQ. It's actually one of the best ETFs, or like one of the best ETFs out there. Vanguard Total Stock Market. Ooh, look at that. See? Can you imagine, like, if you had like 100 or $500,000 in here, and you held on to it? Frick, you could double your money. Let's say you had $100,000 and you put it in around 2016, right? You gain freaking $50,000 in, or no, you gain like $100,000, and all you had to do was hold. So my uncle, right? He had a well-paying job, but he saved so much money and he constantly reinvested in his stock portfolio. So he ended up making a big amount of money because of his investments, and he's been investing for over 20 years. I really believe he invested in technology like Microsoft. No, you know what? I mean, like, okay, if you go from frugal to cheapskate, like, technically I would be defined as a cheapskate. Or, if you're a minimalist, unless you're buying expensive furniture, I would consider that to be a cheapskate. But there's nothing wrong with being a cheapskate. I think, like, I have no problem spending money if I feel like it's worth it. Like, if for example, a MacBook, right? The newest MacBook, because you guys hear how my computer sounds like, right? If I wanted to drop $2,000 on a MacBook, I would not hesitate, really, because I would say this is something that I use a lot. But, right, I don't make $2,000 purchases a lot. I like having a computer that will last me 3 to 5 years for sure, but I get a lot of usage out of it. So if you see me, you would think like she really is considered to be a cheapskate, because I don't like spending money for sure. But yeah, I want to make sure that if I spend money on an item, it's a wise purchase. I do have a few impulsive purchases, but it's like really small costs. Anderson says I want to get a Gucci helmet. So you don't need a flex, right? Okay. Here's the thing, Anderson. Right? You want to flex. You want to flex your Gucci. I know you're joking, right? But you want to flex your Gucci. What are you gonna do when you walk down the street? People see you with your Gucci, and they're like, "Dude, we want to rob Anderson because Anderson is the one that if we see him with a bunch of Gucci, this is the house we want to hit. This is an expensive place." I don't want to ever send that kind of message. Like I walk outside and it's like, ooh, look at me, I'm balling all the time. Like no. Ooh. Oh goodness. Yeah, see, so if you do something, I don't mind doing DIY, but you got to make sure you do it right. Either that or you spend up spending more money. It's like I said, it's like buying the cheap shoes, right? You don't want to buy, let's say, the Manolos, which are $700. So you buy cheap $100 shoes. 1 year later, you toss it because you're like, or 1 month later, you toss it because it's like, frick, these shoes suck. You only get a $1 use per wear or $2. I've had cheap shoes where I've only worn it like 3 times before I decided to donate it. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And I know for my Manolos, I'm gonna get way more usage out of that one pair of shoe versus like a cheap shoe where it's so uncomfortable to wear. It looks nice, but it's uncomfortable. So better to just spend the money on pieces that you really love, but do it smartly. Get pre-owned. Yeah, Toyota is a very good brand. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about Toyotas, but I mean in terms of like newer or older Toyotas, but yeah, it seems like if you get an older Toyota, that is a good choice. Yeah, white Toyota Corolla. I know it sounds like a Family Guy meme of sorts, but yeah, I really like having my little Toyota Corolla. I think even if I had $1 million, I would keep my Toyota Corolla. Or right, if I had like $1 million or so, you know what I would do? I would not. I would. I might just say, you know what? Instead of buying a BMW, I'm gonna spend the money getting an Uber and Lyft everywhere because that way I don't have to park it, and it's like I got my own private chauffeur. You see? Like, wouldn't that be awesome? It's like, oh, where are you gonna go? I'm gonna go to the shopping mall. Yeah, I don't wanna drive there, so yeah, I'm just gonna catch an Uber, spend $20 or so on the Uber, and then yeah. But where I live in um, Honolulu, I'm close enough where I could just walk to the shopping mall. A lot of the times when I was in Hawaii, I just walked everywhere. I walked to work, walked to go shopping, walked to buy groceries. If I did go anywhere, I might catch a Uber or I would just take the bus. I think bus is like 250, I think, but I could be remembering it wrong. Reliable. So actually, my dad bought my car for me. I think it was either I think it was like 1,900 or 2,900. I know it's a big difference, but yeah, it was paid off. And yeah, he said like, oh yep, this is the car to get. And I wasn't the only one who was using the car. Like the freaking family was using the car. And yeah, it was really great because obviously I'm not in Hawaii anymore. So yeah, family got to use the car and they were so, they some of them wanted to borrow the car and I was like, yeah, fine. My uncle also used the car too, but unfortunately he's passed. So yeah, but it was a really great car. It was a really great car. It is a good car. It's still working. It's still chugging along, for sure. Yeah. So reliable, cheap cars, durable cars, Toyota. Toyota, Honda, that kind of stuff. That's the way to go. And yeah, if anybody gives you crap about having a older Toyota or anything, they can really kiss your butt because it's your money. You got to watch out for your financial future, and you don't want to be like one of those dummies who say, "Oh, I'm going to show off to the world that I got this, car that's only 3 years old." Because you know what's going to happen as the years go on, that car gets older and it loses its appeal. I don't know anybody who is like bragging about having like a 2005 BMW. Like like, yeah, it's just like, what? That's a 15-year-old BMW. So I can't imagine having a used BMW and then pay for the freaking premium for repairs. And yeah, it's just like, no, give me a Toyota. Unless it was a fully self-driving car, I would have zero interest in getting a more expensive car. But yeah, I want a car that is affordable, cheap to repair, durable, and most of all, within the budget. Within the budget. And yeah. So 2:46 a.m. getting freaking late. I might have said it before, but I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Oh, I'm so sorry you guys are looking at VSACs. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and feel free to re-listen to this in the future, because in case you guys like want to just kind of get a what's that word, like a refresher, or just kind of listen to this thing, it's important to keep in mind, right? I want you guys all to be financially successful. I want you guys to be wealthy, and I don't want any of you guys like digging a hole for yourself. Like, so many people I've seen like just freaking fail at saving money. And yeah, again, the people that I know tend to save money. They're the people who it's like they live very modestly. You know, like when you see all these like Chinese women, I'm only picking on the Chinese because I'm familiar with a lot of Chinese people. If you see like the old Chinese women in Chinatown, you know, buying vegetables, or they look like they got the shopping carts, and they look like they're pretty poor, do not assume that those women are poor. They could be freaking loaded with a huge nest egg, but they choose to just have this like low maintenance image and very frugal image, because what they care about is making sure they have financial security. It has nothing to do with signaling to other people that they made it in life. So I've known, like I said, I've known a person who is so frugal. I mean, she is she is more frugal than I am by far. And she proudly declared, like, if she wanted to buy like a $800,000 house or something, she could buy it in cash. And I was like, whoa, you know, if you saw her, you would think she was really poor. And I say this because her clothes had holes in it. Her curtains, like, she would patch them up with, let's say, old t-shirts. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I was just like, oh, really? You don't want to buy like, you know, old, you know, newer curtains, or maybe like Amazon curtains or cheap curtains? Her 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 laundry basket, it broke, and what she did is she used twine to sew it together again. Yeah, you know, sometimes you get those laundry basket with the holes in them where they start breaking off, or the handle breaks. Yeah, she decided to sew it to. She decided to intertwine twine in there, and she used it as a laundry basket. And I remember I was thinking like, So I actually got her a laundry basket, and then once she got the newer laundry basket, she promptly got rid of her old laundry basket. And I thought, well, you know, at least it's something. So yeah, that kind of thing. Like, I understand the desire to save money, but sometimes I'm like, dang, you know, you're really making the dollar stretch, like the penny stretch. She's making the pennies. She's trying to get like like water out of a stone kind of thing. But as much as it's like I kind of was like scratching my head at her cost saving measures, I can't deny this woman is so freaking frugal that she's in much better financial shape than a lot of people. And when she and her husband were working, they were probably only making about $30,000 each. So it's just a lot of saving money, a lot of discipline, making sure that they stick to a budget. And again, she was super cheap. I mean, like, if I'm saying she's super cheap, believe me, she was super cheap. But yeah, at the end of it, she has financial security. She knows her value is not in what she wears, but she chooses it. And I think at the end of the day, she's happy with herself, because she looks at the bank account and she's like, dang, I can comfortably afford $800,000. Yeah. See you guys. And by the way, Jim, I hope you feel better.